One. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the best podcast in history. This is The Late Show with Patty Jack. I'm joined by a very special guest today, someone I've been trying to get on the show for about a month, and because of that, I've been like losing shows and not being able to do them. So thanks, Aaron. How's it going, bro?
I'm doing great, and I was just doing that despite you, man. All the shit you pulled off as that bard, I mean, I had to get revenge somehow.
Dude, it's all been your master plan to make sure that I can't do this podcast. And it's all
oh yeah,
your
no, this
fault,
is the
and
long con.
I will never forgive you for it, ever, ever, ever. Alright, so
Awesome.
we have a couple topics we want to go over today, but before we do that, do you want to explain just a little bit about what you do on the internet and things like that?
Well, I can cover at least the Twitch stuff. The other stuff I'm doing now, I don't think is appropriate for the podcast.
I don't want to hear about it.
Awesome.
That's gross.
So, I stream over on Twitch, and stream mostly Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop role-playing games. So you've got people out there streaming League of Legends and Counter-Strike, and they got 250,000 views and are the equivalent to a small African country. I stick around to a little bit more of a niche community with about 30-something viewers, and we deal with pretty much role-playing.
Yeah.
So,
and if
nothing
you
like live streaming pretending to be an elf,
Yeah, exactly. No, if you haven't checked it out too, I would highly recommend it. It's a really cool, interesting streams, lots of viewer interaction, and you get to go see me pretend to be a bard and write poems and things. It's really dumb, and I love it. It's the best thing I've got going on in my entire life right now. So, yeah, no, you do some really cool stuff. It's great to see that D&D has kind of, become more of a mainstream thing. In the past, 3 months, it's kind of exploded in popularity on Twitch. That's kind of how you started too, isn't it?
Well, pretty much. I didn't notice the explosion. I just randomly thought, hey, I should probably start streaming this shit. And I just happened to start doing it during the explosion. Because I was not an avid, Twitch person when it hit off on Twitch at all. So I was just damn lucky, pretty much.
Right, exactly. And so basically, it's you and 3 other people that are kind of doing this full time as well. How's that been going?
Well, I quit my job just about 2.5 months ago to do this full time, and they all didn't have any jobs to quit. So, woo, time for that.
Seems legit. So has that been a scary endeavor for you guys?
Not as bad as you'd think. If we lived in America, probably, but we live in Norway, where students get a good deal of cash every month to live off of. So it's not as much of a risk, I guess. I mean, of course, it is still scary, but I'm a little bit lucky to be in that position to be able to do this.
Yeah, see, that doesn't happen in North America.
Oh, yeah, no.
I mean, I was super lucky that I have all my loans paid off already, but, still,
yeah,
I would have been out, 12 grand at least, and that was for a 2-year college course.
Oh, it'd be terrible, yeah.
It's insane. Alright, so we're going to talk a little bit more about D&D later on in the show, but I have a wonderful different segment that I would love to do. I've done one of these before. This is a comment comeback. This is where I go through some of the best or worst comments on my YouTube channel. This is the Star Wars Battlefront edition. So I've sent Aaron a link over to this video that I made a couple weeks ago now. This video entitled, Is Star Wars Battlefront Good Yet? It was a video where I did not so much a review of the game. It's not a review. And people are... Okay, that's going to be a thing later on. But it's just going to be going back to this game that came out last year. It's been out for almost a year. Just going back and seeing if it's become a more playable and enjoyable game in the long run. And I don't think it has, but I managed to piss off roughly half of the community that's still playing it. So we're going to go through a few comments about it here. And this is a thing that happens about once a year for me, okay? So every year I manage to do something or say something that annoys one community or another. This year it's Star Wars Battlefront. Last year, or maybe the year before, it was Battlefield Hardline. That was a thing that happened as well. And then before that, it was some really crappy Facebook iOS style port over to Steam. People really didn't like me making fun of that game because it was really awful. I mean, there was goddamn white pixels around where they tried to Photoshop characters and stuff. Seriously. Okay. Anyways, though, what we're going to do is I've sent them over the link, and we're going to go through these comments and just kind of reply to a bunch of them, because this is probably the worst comment section I've ever seen on my channel, and it's hilarious. It's
And this is a YouTube channel, right? That's...
Yeah.
When you said this is the worst comment section on my channel, it's got to be pretty bad. Like, I haven't checked it out yet because he told me not to, but I think I know what I'm in for now.
Okay, yeah, so you can go over there now, and I don't know if you want to, like, sort it by top comments, or probably newest first is the best way to do this.
Okay, so just did that.
Let's go ahead and do it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of take turns reading out some comments. You can choose whichever ones you want, so here we go. The first one I'm going to read out. Now, this was just to clarify again, this was me going over a bunch of the basic things that you can do or can't do in the game. So we're going to go over them. If you haven't watched the video yet and you're watching the VOD, maybe go watch the video first and then come back to the VOD version of this. But if it's live, screw you, you're just going to have to deal with it. So I love my fans. Please don't hate me. So the first comment we've got here is, you can control the AT-AT, you fucking idiot, and the EE4 isn't Boba Fett's gun, dumbass. I'm sorry, for one. The EE4 isn't Boba Fett's gun. I now know that. He uses the EE3. I mean, that's obviously, that dismerits everything I did, everything I said in the video, right? Absolutely everything. Because I was off by that one number, man. Absolutely off by it. And I also want to clarify, I didn't say you couldn't control the AT-AT. I said you couldn't drive it. Because driving and spinning around the head like a goddamn bobblehead are two different things, in case you didn't notice. So that's a fun thing. I'm so happy about that. Alright, Aaron, take a look through those comments and let's find one that you think is interesting.
Oh,
you can just choose a random one, too. It don't matter to me.
Awesome, okay. Shit, we've got one here that said, someone's bad at the game, indicating that all your hatred for the game's glaring flaws must come from your frequent losses.
Absolutely. So I'd like to point out that when I was playing the game, it's like, I wasn't actually having frequent losses. I was probably going about 50-50, and I think that's a core problem with Star Wars Battlefront. There's no point in the game where I feel like your team's skill actually matters. It feels like you just kind of shoot things, and whoever shoots more things and gets lucky kind of wins the game.
I mean, it's not even that. Your average lifespan is 20 seconds. You spawn, you run out, you just toss your grenade, shoot something that moves, you die, and then you rinse, repeat. I'm not kidding. Like, I played a bit of Battlefront. I think I've got about 40, 50 hours in it. Not sure. I don't think Origin tracks that, but I played a good deal of it. Mm-hmm. And I remember recording one session. I was thinking about doing it on Twitch. I was just recording it, test the quality of it and stuff. And I went through it later just to check out. And I'm not kidding. Like, my average lifespan was about 45 seconds.
No, and that's the thing with that game. Like, you're not meant to be feeling like you're playing Star Wars. You're supposed to feel like you're playing like a multiplayer game, you know? It feels like it's trying to be this weird mix of Battlefield and Quake almost, you know? The weird like play style of Quake mixed with this kind of like Battlefield-esque game mode. It's really weird to even try to explain. You know, like the time to kill in that game is so off. You ever notice that? It's like it takes so long to kill anything. Unless you're using the sniper rifle power-up.
Right. The insta-kill shits. Mm-hmm. Or you're like super lucky you managed to get one of the hero upgrades. Yeah. And turn into Darth Boba Fett, whatever the fuck, and just absolutely mutilate everything in your sight.
Darth Boba Fett, oh my god. I want to see that really bad now. That's hilarious. Okay. Okay, here's another one. I love Battlefront because I'm an extreme Star Wars fan.
That should actually make you hate Battlefront even more, because right now, if you go online, you're searching anything up on Battlefront, you search up on YouTube, for example, you're going to find some awesome cinematic videos and all that, but you're going to find a lot of videos from people far more successful and far better explaining themselves than I, and I think Patty am as well, that will make some damn good points as to why this game is not a good game. Now, the Frostbite engine is fucking beautiful. It is probably the best looking FPS I have ever seen, and it runs amazingly.
I said in this video too, everyone focuses on the few negative things that, well, there's a lot of negative things, but my points in this video were that this game looks amazing, and it has the best sound design I've ever heard.
Yeah, it doesn't do Star Wars justice, basically.
No, exactly. Well, it does in a certain... Like, it does in a certain light, like, how it looks and how it sounds. Like, you feel like you're in Star Wars when you're playing it, but then you play it for 30 seconds. And all of a sudden...
It's a cinematic.
Exactly, right?
The entire game, yeah.
Now,
It feels like a cinematic.
and I will say that with the new skirmish mode that I don't know if you've played yet. Like, you probably haven't tried that out at all, right?
I have not. Overwatch hit me over the head with a brick and dragged me behind a shed, and I haven't managed to crawl out from there yet.
Yeah, and like it's probably not going to convince you to go back to it, but I tried it out, and the skirmish mode is basically you can play the Walker Assault game mode just with AI instead now, and it's a hell of a lot more enjoyable because people, because people aren't just using the most OP thing they can and trying to like camp your spawn. You know?
I think that was my biggest problem with Battlefront, was that there was an obvious split between people who played a long time and people who hadn't. Like, I'm not talking about just skill, the fact that they had better weapons and better
the unlocks and stuff. I mean,
that's fine in a game that should have matchmaking and split the players. But the fact that I could start the game, be matched with someone at max that level with best equipment, that's not good.
Well, exactly, and there's literally weapons in the game that are straight upgrades from other things as well. Like the DLT has an upgrade. Like there's another version of an LMG that does more damage and shoots faster.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Like if you're gonna have upgrades, you have to split the player base and you have to match make based on like their upgrades. Because if not, it's gonna be one-sided. And considering that it's entirely random what teams are on, and if I'm remembering correctly, I don't think it had rebalancing after matches at all.
Yeah,
it's been a few months now.
I don't even. Like I don't know about rebalancing. It is
pretty much random.
Like
until you've got those upgrades yourself, your winner or losing is going to be pretty much dependent on how many assholes on your team have jetpacks compared to how many assholes on the other team have jetpacks.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
I also don't even like the jetpacks that much. I mean, they're all right, but
but just straight up upgrades like that should not. That's one of the things that probably ruined it most, I think, because it meant that if you came into the game later, like let's say a few weeks or months after release, it was much more of a grind than it had any right to be.
Yeah, exactly. And like the weird thing is too, I would really prefer if they use like Call of Duty's old unlock system for the game, because we were talking about like things being like straight upgrades or something. The way Call of Duty used to do it, like Black Ops and everything, you get like money in the game, right? And then you just choose something you want to unlock. You don't have to go through everything one by one to get to the good stuff at the end.
Yeah.
Like, why is that not standard now?
I have no idea.
It's still a sense of progression because you're unlocking new things and you're just not getting more and more and more powerful in a multiplayer focused game. You know, where you're still matched up against people who aren't as powerful as you.
Well, that's a bit like a play going on in the gaming industry right now. Is that almost every game has to have some sort of progression system, even if it doesn't suit the game, because it just seems like people love progression systems. Don't get me wrong, I love progression systems. It gives me something to work towards, and it keeps me playing a game for longer. But there are times when a progression system just doesn't suit it, and the one in Battlefront feels very much like that they just pushed that in just because it wasn't fleshed out.
Exactly right, and like the weird thing too again is that they just have straight upgrades. When I look at a game like say Bad Company 2, which is one of my favorite multiplayer games ever, I still think it's one of the best ones. When you unlocked other things in that game, you couldn't just choose what you wanted to unlock. You had to go through each individual weapon with every class, but there was none that were straight better than other ones. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like you could say that the GOL is more accurate, but the M24 had a faster fire rate. And it was just as good at killing things. I mean, people that were like top level in that game were still using it.
Yeah,
there was nothing that was a straight upgrade, and that's what I can't fathom at all how they thought it was a good idea to include things like that in the game.
No.
Okay, so
like there are games that have done that though, like I'm done examples, but they'll have like, okay, you can start out with certain weapons and they're all equally good, right? And then around the maps, you'll have these random weapon spawns, which will be better than your starting weapons.
And during your match,
you'll be able to pick them. That would have worked amazingly for this. Then a straight upgrade to the weapon you spawned with, that's A-okay.
I mean, they already had hero spawns and vehicles.
Oh yeah,
I
hate the hero spawns because people just camp out the fucking hero spawn spots and do nothing to contribute to the team. Hero spawns should be entirely random and dished out upon respawn. So if you're a shitty player and you're dying a frequent amount of times, you have a little bit higher chance of becoming a hero. And if you're a really good player, you're not going to be getting as much because you're already playing damn good. You don't need to be Darth Vader.
Here's the thing, too. That was a setting you could put in Battlefront 2.
Really?
Yeah.
I never played any of the other Battlefront games, and I feel like I missed out on a lot.
Dude, like, it's baffling how much stuff just isn't in this game that sorely needed to be. And even when even introducing this skirmish mode, right? it annoys me because DICE just has shown this utter lack of caring about the community and what they wanted out of a game at all. Even back to when they first announced it, people were like, okay, we don't want it to be this, we want it to be this. Then they just released something that was half-baked. Now they've added in this offline mode, right? But you can't customize your character like you can in multiplayer. You can't even... You have 2 options for star cards. You can choose 2 sets. You can't even customize which ones you want to have in your hand. Why? You can do it in multiplayer. They just remove it for this. That makes so 0 sense.
Like, I'll give them credits for, like, I was worried when this game was first announced that they wouldn't basically pay enough respect to the Star Wars universe. You understand what I mean? Yeah. And just throw in whatever and not think if this fits the canon or anything. And I think, actually, they did pay a lot of respects to the Star Wars universe. They just didn't pay any respects to the people who are going to be playing this game. They went the other end of the spectrum, which I think is a first. I don't think I've seen that in other games that have been set in certain, pre-made universes like that. They'll often do the opposite. They'll focus on the gameplay, and then they're not actually worrying about the canon or anything at all. So, and this game just feels like it went the other way around.
And I think that was mostly just to get people more interested in Battlefront as a series, because we know there's going to be another one coming out. So I'm slightly hopeful that they'll do something to fix these issues. But even like when they introduced this skirmish mode, you can only play Walker Assault in skirmish, and you can only do the original maps. They didn't bother to release any of the other game modes, which you can barely join nowadays. Like, any small game mode, good luck finding a match. It's so difficult. There's 5,000 people concurrent on PC right now. It's absolutely insane.
The game has longer queue times than Titanfall, and Titanfall in Europe, I think, has like 40 average players right now. Like, it's mental.
And, like, they're still releasing DLC for it as well, so that splits up the community even more. It's like, the whole thing is baffling from a business standpoint, and what baffles me even more is that people defend things like that.
It's a perfect example of what happens to a really skilled studio when they obviously have the capability of making a good game, and, I mean, the engine they're running on is glorious, and they're on the right track, but they just don't have anything planned out in the start. You understand what I mean? It seems like they just, like, let's make a Star Wars game, and then jumped into it, and the entire studio just split up and did their own little things, and it doesn't have a concurrent, like, red thread, through it. I'm not sure what that phrasing is in English. You have that, right? Red thread?
Maybe. Sure.
In Norwegian, you have a saying about a red thread. Like, if a story has a red thread going through it, then it's, like, concurrent and it makes sense. You have something to follow throughout the entire story.
That makes sense. Like a breadcrumb trail.
Yeah, there you go. Breadcrumb trail is probably what it's called in English.
Totally. Sure, why not? Okay, we got another comment from Joshua Reynolds. We're learning all about freaking Norway and shit, man.
Oh, yeah, let's get into that.
So we got a comment from Joshua Reynolds who says, IAmPattyJack wins the award for the worst review in history. Followed by, I get the feeling you've hardly played the game. 3 upvotes.
Oh, yeah.
Great job explaining your stance. Absolutely amazing, bro. I'm so happy that you contributed to that. It's so good. The one underneath it is great.
Yeah, we can't go against this guy. He's got a PhD in philosophy.
Wait, what?
It says so.
Oh my god, it says on
his PhD student, interest in theology, philosophy, history, and politics.
Well, I mean, you've convinced me now, man. My diploma in digital communications, that's nothing. Absolutely nothing. My training in journalism and all that, no. Worthless in regards to your PhD with your 17 subscribers and your 3 upvoted comment, man. Oh, man.
Which is really weird because even though I studied programming, I was forced to take half a year of philosophy because in Norway, universities, if you take any science classes, you have to pass half a year of philosophy for whatever reason.
Seems legit.
And yeah, which is fine. But like literally the first weeks you're learning about philosophy is they go through like the whole concept like discussion and arguing and all that. And the fact that in philosophy, there's no right or wrong and that all these things can be viewed from a million different standpoints and perspectives, and that you can never like say my ideology is more right or less right, which means that the fact that this guy's coming in here and going, this is the worst review in history, directly goes against everything he says his PhD is about.
Yeah. And, also not explaining literally anything.
Because I watched your video, and you never said, this game sucks because of this. You said, I think this game sucks because of this and this. I believe.
I explained all my points.
Exactly. You're not stating facts. You're stating opinions.
I don't even think I ever said the game sucked. I said I didn't think it was a very
No,
good
you didn't.
Video
it was just
game.
mine. Yeah.
And then I also praised things I like. Okay, whatever. And the thing you'll notice too is that literally all these people that comment, they're all people that already own the game and are looking to get their opinion validated too.
Oh yeah, dude, I don't blame them. This game was fucking expensive. I went into the pre-order, I bought the full thing, and I'm not kidding, I was pissed off when I played it, and I was going around to forums and people were pointing out all these issues with why it wasn't good. And I was playing it. I remember that the first day I put in like 10 hours to it, and I was so fucking hyped, after my shitty internet, spent like 3 days downloading it.
Yeah.
And I was so hyped, and I got into it, and I was just like, it gets better, though, right? It'll get better. And I kept grinding through it and getting obliterated and noticing all the flaws. And I'm like, well, no, but it looks good. And I was like, just looking at all the little silver linings. And then I went and checked out, like, Reddit and some YouTube videos and shit, and they were, like, all these reviewers doing all this, like, super critical, like, oh, well, this is wrong, that's wrong, this could have been better. And to be honest, I was kind of pissed.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and like I didn't take it on the reviewers, but but like I spent so much money on this, and they were just confirming that, oh, you done fucked up, son. And I didn't like that. And I'm thinking that these people are probably in the same position. They just don't have the self-control to not go onto the reviewers page and go, oh, you.
Mm-hmm. And it's really weird that they're still doing this a year afterwards. Like,
oh, you're gonna have this to your grave, man. I'm like,
still looking this up. Well, the thing is too, all the comments have stopped now. There was one day I got like 50, and like 2 days ago, and now it's just like stop.
I am willing to put a few dollars down that your video got reposted to some Discord channel or some Reddit forum or something.
And that's what I think,
had to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Here's another one, and I'm gonna read this the way it's written. So
yeah, go ahead.
This isn't me being dyslexic. This is this guy being dyslexic. And you had the potential to have a life, but you don't. Can you at least read up on the game and know the thing before making a video about it? He capitalized it.
With 3 exclamation marks and a few smileys.
Yeah, I don't see the middle one. What's the middle one?
It
looks like a box to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his entire account seems to have been made for that one comment, though.
Oh, yeah, and then it says hashtag Star Wars Battlefront for life.
Like, yeah, like, it's just a spam account.
Love it. Okay, let's go through here. Oh, Josh commented. That's wonderful. My other YouTube friend, I'm so sorry, Josh, that you had to get involved in this. Okay, here's another one. Again, 3 upvotes. Fuck you, asshole. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, let's see. The Royal Guards are in the game. Yes, they are. I didn't just... Okay. That was not the point I was making in the video. It's not the fact that the Royal Guards aren't in the game. It's the fact that you can't customize your freaking character for shit when you're on the Imperial side. All you get is goddamn unhelmeted Imperials until the last 3 levels of the game. Okay, so did you even use the customization options in this?
Me?
Yeah.
As for the decorative ones, or like the ability cards?
Like the decorative things, like the skins and stuff.
I didn't really bother with it because most of them were bland as fuck. It was just like, here's a billion different hairstyles, and then if you grind for God knows how many hours, you can be an alien.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, my entire point in the video was when you're on the Imperial side especially, you get unhelmeted humans until the last 3 levels where you get to be like a red-skinned trooper or a dark trooper.
Oh, yeah.
And
like,
then,
I was hoping for like fucking like armor customization. Like, I want an armor that was bloody or maybe like camo or covered in mud.
Have some stupid, awesome customization options. Like, where the hell was the Republic Commando skin in that game? Right? Like, why couldn't I be a regular stormtrooper or a clone trooper or something? Just for funsies. And my point was, why couldn't I just be like a royal guard? Like one of Palpatine's giant red cloaked guys. And yes, you can be those characters in the game if you spawn as Palpatine's like bodyguards when he's in it, but that doesn't count towards my point at all.
This game, if it had classes, it would have been so much better. Because you could probably deal with a lot of the problems. Because like instead of players having the ability to choose from whatever they want and slowly grinding up for OP weapons, you could have like, let's say 5 different classes, and like sniper or assaulter with a shotgun with grenades.
With like 3 different options for their weapon.
Yeah, and it would be easier to not only balance the classes together, because that means, oh shit, well we realized that grenades are really good close combat and snipers are really good long range. So maybe we shouldn't let someone pick grenades and snipers so they can obliterate literally anything.
Or two snipers?
Yeah.
You can have 2 sniper star cards.
And you could flesh out the classes, and what you'd have now is that the classes would be good against each other. Understand what I mean? Because you have like a rock, paper, scissors things going on. Because obviously, you know, if an assaulter is up in a sniper's face, then the sniper's pretty much fucked, vice versa. And because of this, you can allow classes, allow players to get a more powerful version of a class. Because if you're, let's say, a level 3 sniper, okay, you got some really good guns, a level 1 assaulter would still have the advantage of you because his shotgun is going to obliterate you at close range. And that's fine. Then they could have had the whole, you get better weapons for grinding and all that jazz. I honestly wish this game had classes. I think it'd be a lot better then.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I've got one more, and then we're going to move away from Battlefront. This has been therapeutic for me, all right? Because I'm getting absolutely spammed by these nonsensical comments. And it's not the fact that they're insulting me. It's the fact that what they're saying, they evidently must think that they have a point when it doesn't even make sense. Like, what they're saying does not make damn sense. And that bothers me.
Oh, boy. Okay. I see one comment here, though, that can probably lead us into our next talking point.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You want to go with yours first? Go ahead.
Yes. This one's a long one. This is from Jim Vader. And he says, a lot of your complaints were you just being bad at the game. Period. Walker Assault is one of the most finely crafted game modes in any game ever.
Oh, dear God.
Except on Endor, like you mentioned. But to ignore how amazing it plays on the other map is just intellectually dishonest. The game isn't bad, it just isn't as good as it should have been.
That's the definition of the word bad.
You know what? But that sentence there is what I said in the video. So, okay. Add the overpriced DLC. It was just too much for the consumer to accept.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that. Okay. Let's just go on to Walker Assault being a balanced game mode. There's literally a point in that video where I spawn in our spawn point.
Yep.
And there's something in front of me. You want to take a guess as to what is standing in front of me?
Is it the deep, dark, black ass of Darth Vader where you cut your throat?
That happens to me too. But I was playing on Celeste. You know the Walker Assault map on Celeste, right? The frickin' refinery place with all the lava and stuff?
Oh yeah, shit, yeah.
Yeah. So you spawn in there at the last part of that map, and the freaking AT-AT is in front of your face. Like it was doing a staring contest with me as soon as I spawned. And then I died. And then I spawned again. And then I died.
The tunnels on that map are fucking terrible.
You're gonna sit there and you're gonna say that's one of the greatest game modes ever when the rebel side literally can't spawn for half the match.
No. It's literally an uphill fight.
You've reverted me to Tauntaun status now. Okay. I think we need to go to a break. I'm not doing so well anymore. This was therapeutic, and now I'm just getting angry again.
Hello, I'm just gonna be Darth... YouTube Viewers Anonymous. My name is PattyJack. Hi, PattyJack.
Sorry, I was hyperventilating there. Okay, now, let's go into break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a couple other things. Probably Overwatch, and then get into kind of D&D stuff as well. So, we will be going into break in a moment here, as soon as I remember how to do this in OBS, because I've only ever done this once. So, we're going to see how this goes. And, here we go, kind of, I guess.
Do you hate cats? PattyJack does. No kidding, that's a bad cat! That's why when you subscribe to IAmPattyJack, you are guaranteed a 100% cat-free zone. Don't let those feline get you down. Subscribe to IAmPattyJack today and show them who's boss. Because cats are assholes. Play me off, keyboard cat.
You're listening to The Late Show with PattyJack. Today's episode is sponsored by... John Cena! It never gets old. If you haven't already, you should consider subscribing to IAmPattyJack. Why? Because I'm holding a potato. And if you don't subscribe, this potato is going to die. I'm going to boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew, right in front of its family, and it will be entirely your fault. Subscribe or else. Everyone loves zombie survival games. Too bad for you, none of them are finished. That's why I took it upon myself to create SkyZ, the premier zombie survival Let's Play on YouTube. What makes it so great? Apart from my award-winning voice and personality, it features undead monsters, engaging stories, hardcore parkour, and a creamy ranch dressing. Okay, I lied about the dressing. SkyZ, the only thing featuring zombies that isn't in early access.
Patty, you have such amazing style. Where do you get it all?
Well, as you may have noticed, I'm constantly decked out in my own shirts because it makes me feel better about myself. You can feel better about yourself too by ordering my merchandise at awkwardapparel.spreadshirt.com. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, phone cases, buttons, coasters, and more. I'm wearing it all right now.
How do you wear a coaster?
No questions! Just go to awkwardapparel.spreadshirt.com today. Did you know I have a Steam group? Probably not, because there's only 19 people in it. Jerks. Check out The Socially Awkward Gamer on Steam for access to forums, questions, video updates, Steam Curator, open lobbies, and more. Head on over to steamcommunity.com/group/The Socially Awkward Gamer. Link in the description. Go do it.
Oh yeah! Today's episode is brought to you by World of War Pets. Pilot dogs, cats, and canaries in this class-based MMO that was labeled too bloody for children under 22 years old. Pre-order the Blood Battle expansion pack to send thousands of small creatures to their deaths all at once. World of War Pets, now available on Mac, PC, iOS, Android, and Dreamcast. Holy shit.
Thousands of YouTubers go hungry every day, or they're at least forced to get a part-time job. You have the power to change that. By sharing their content with your friends, your family, and coworkers, you help YouTubers overcome the odds and prevent them from being productive members of society. One view isn't enough. Like, share, and subscribe today. Alright, we are back. I apologize if anyone just heard the absolute ear rape that was in your ears. So, what I do on those commercial breaks, and I know Aaron is very confused as to what's going on right now, so I'm going to explain what just happened. When I'm going through the commercial breaks, I throw a countdown timer in the corner, right? So I just go onto Google and I get Google's countdown timer. Unfortunately,
Oh, that one had such a loud noise.
I did not mute
gosh.
the alarm.
Dear God, man. Are you using OBS?
Yes.
Dude, Google search SNAZ.
Is it a
S-N-A-Z.
countdown plugin?
No, it's literally a little like JavaScript thing you run on a computer, and it updates a little text file with like a timer and shit, and it's what everyone who streams uses. And you can really just put a little text thing on the screen and pull it from that document and shit. So,
Okay, I'll be using that in the future.
Yeah, it's meant for to work with OBS. Just search up SNAS.
Yeah, that'll be a thing that happens. So I apologize if your ears are absolutely dying right now. And then I tried to open up where my timer was, but I opened up the wrong window, so it went on even longer, and now I'm all paranoid about it. So that's a thing that happened. All right.
Oh shit. Your subscriber count. It's dropping. It's falling.
Oh no. Wait, what? Oh god.
No, you're fine,
I
man.
get it. Oh, I get it. That was a joke. Okay.
Oh my gosh. You're so sensitive, dude. Chill. You're fine.
Alright, let's go into some other topics right now. I think we want to talk a little bit about Overwatch. You were just telling me that you're getting into competitive, so let's talk about that and probably the recent patches and stuff that's kind of shifted the metagame like a decent amount. So yeah, you want to go over like the patches and metagame first? That'd be a better idea, probably.
Yeah, sure.
Let's go ahead and do it. So, what have you noticed in the last, week and a half? Because there's been a couple things, mostly due to McCree getting his slight nerf again, so he's not being used quite as much, that I've noticed. And I've also noticed that people are using the crap out of Zenyatta. Have you noticed that at all?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Zenyatta, because McCree was the original tank killer. His Fan the Hammer thing just ate up HP like no one's business. Well, Zenyatta was probably in second place. And then they nerfed McCree, so he didn't work that well against tanks, and at the same time buffed Zenyatta. So that immediately would explain why McCree suddenly dropped and Zenyatta just flew to the top, because he is, without a doubt, not only the main tank killer, but also has the opportunity to spot heal anyone he wants on the team, discord important targets, all that jazz. So,
It's
what is going?
it's nice that he's finally getting used, and I must say that he's a bitch to play against if I'm Roadhog. So that's been a thing.
Yeah.
As soon as that Discord orb goes on me, it's like because Roadhog is such a big target, and he doesn't have Reinhardt's shield or anything. Like, you take a lot of damage, so I do have to find myself like going behind cover a lot more than I used to. Thankfully, if I manage to hook him, he's a pretty easy kill still, although he's not as paper thin as he used to be. It was always nice before, if I was Roadhog, and I got a Zenyatta on my hook. He was dead. There was
Them
nothing.
changing the speed of the orbs was probably what made him really damn good, that and the extra 50 HP. So...
it is nice that he is a little bit more survivable. I'm glad to see that he's being used. I've noticed more of him, a little bit less Lucio, and then slightly less Mercy as well. I still enjoy Lucio the most as support, and everyone else seems to disagree with me. I find that I'm decently good with him, even in a public lobby. He's still my favorite one to play, but that's because and people say like he's not good in publics because of his ult and everything, but I find that his passive heal is a lot better, because if your team is just running around doing absolutely nothing of importance, or they're not trying to like work with you as a Mercy or something, like if your tank is just running out in the middle of everything, like no matter who you are, if you're a Mercy, you're gonna get shot at.
Yeah, it is ruthless playing as Mercy. I've got about 80 hours on her now, without a doubt higher than any other character. I think I've got Lucio in second place with like 16 hours. So I've played a shit ton of Mercy, and when I first got into ranked playing, I got placed at rank 53 after my first 10 matches, which is, from what I've heard, pretty damn good, actually, because he usually places people around the 40s area.
Mm-hmm.
And playing Mercy's pretty ruthless. People will definitely run past your entire team and sacrifice themselves to take you down.
Yeah.
Because... if they all use their ults, wipe you all, I'm able to survive, I res them, then they're fucked. They have no ults to push us back, and we can just charge forward and just wreck face. And, like, in ranked mode, when I was up there in the rank 50s areas and shit, like, there'd be Genjis literally just dashing through my entire team to haul ass after me. It's pretty ruthless. Lucio has a little bit more survivability. That's the thing. The issue is that his ult isn't super useful.
Yeah, it's useful if everyone on your team knows you're going to use it, right? So if I'm in a public lobby and we're, like, pressed for time or something, what I'll do is I will announce that my ult is ready, and then try to get them to group up at least, right? And kind of hope that the puppies, notice that.
Right.
So I find that it generally works, but it is very situational, Like, a lot of the times there is no good situation to use it in a public lobby.
Right. Like, the issue I have with Lucio is that his ult, I guess if you look at, like, the whole thing about winning Overwatch is pretty much getting the last word in when it comes to using ults.
Mm-hmm.
And Mercy's ult is the entire team got wiped. They use, like, shit tons of their ults to take us down. And then I use my ult to res us, and they don't have any way to re-kill us.
Yeah.
So I, as Mercy, got the last word. We have the advantage. But Lucio's is an ult you use either right before or during an ongoing ult, like a Pharah's just barraging down you.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that the enemy sees this and can then plan for it. And as soon as your ult is over, then their Roadhog can come in and start ulting. They got the last word on that, and that they will have the advantage yet again. Mercy's ult is really good because it almost always is the I got the last word ult, while Lucio's almost never is.
Yeah.
And I think people are starting to realize that in competitive now.
I find that Lucio is he's a much better like first half of the game hero as well. Like he's great for getting your team to like push the payload to the first point, or take the first capture point, because if you can get like 3 of them on there, no one's quite got their ults yet, and then you can just kind of keep them like healed up as much as you can. Usually it's enough to kind of take that first point, but afterwards you should at least consider switching over to, say, like a Mercy or something like that instead. Unless your team is working really well, in which case he can work, and I do find I do have a decent amount of success. And the other thing with Lucio too is he's a lot more he's a lot better for getting in the middle of combat. One of my best tactics with Lucio is literally to just jump around the goddamn payload because no one can hit you.
Like on Hanamura, the first map, you can literally just run around that fucking bell with your speed boost on. They can't do shit.
Exactly. So he's great for that type of tactic as well. Keeping like overtime on or whatever as well. So that's always he does have his uses, just not as not as much as a pure healer as I think like Mercy or I guess Zenyatta would be, even though Zenyatta's a little bit more damage focused.
Yep.
All right, what was I gonna say? I had another point. Can't remember what it was. Tell me about competitive, because I can't remember shit right now.
Right. Currently, I'm stuck in like an ELO hell right now when it comes to ranked competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I said, I got matched up to like 53 rank, and again, that's pretty decent. Like some of the world's best players right now are at around rank 65 to 70. Is pretty much where they're all at. So 53 is pretty good, but I did that right at the start when they had the issue of levers causing everyone on the team to lose XP glitch, and then the fact that Mercy, who I pretty much played exclusively, her healing wasn't actually counting as any damage or anything, and her ult wasn't counting as being an ult. So after a match, Mercy would earn like a fraction of the XP because it basically counted as me not doing any damage, any healing, or using my ult at all. So the game was just like, okay, here's 100, and then I'll give like a few thousand to your teammates. So when I started, when I lost a few matches as Mercy, I drop an entire rank, and then it'd take me like 5 to 6 wins to actually get that rank back. So now I'm all the way down like rank, I think 40. I ended up down like 41. And then I'm crawling my ass back up to 46 right now. And there's currently an issue ongoing with the whole fact that if you're not playing with a 6-man team and you're getting paired with randoms, it's pretty harsh. Because right now in ranked, if you're far down in rank, you're being paired with other people who are down there, either that they immediately got set there after the first 10 matches or that they've just fallen there. And these are the type of people who will not use microphone, they will not communicate with their team, they're, perma-hand-so and that kind of jazz. And getting out of there on my own is not working out. So I've just decided to only playing ranked when I have like the rest of my crew on to play with me. Because if not, I'm just going to drop ranks no matter what.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I've been looking at it too. Like I've pretty much avoided ranked mode, mostly because the first season was like such a cluck, right? There was nothing you could do about it, so it's like, I'm gonna wait on that. But even afterwards, it's like, I haven't been super into it. When I play Overwatch, I just want to do stupid things. I want to like go around as Roadhog and just like try to hook people through into like off cliffs and stuff, into like giant holes and everything, just for funsies.
I've got a friend who's up in like rank 67, I think he's at right now. And the shit he's been describing to me is an awesome game. Like, first off, almost everyone is on voice chat, okay? Just as soon as he gets into a game, he'll hear people on voice chat just talking it out. People are super fucking nice, because keep in mind, if they're up in rank that high, they're playing really well, and the only way... You cannot carry a team alone. You cannot carry a team even if you're 2 really good players. It's like, at least you need 4.
Yeah.
Damn good people. You can maybe do a team carry with 4 really good players and 2 shits. But if they're up in that high rank, like they said that even if they're playing alone, they're still getting ranked with other people who are as good and as passionate about the game. And he said it's an awesome experience. Like, he's not having barely any toxicity. Even when his team loses, everyone's just like, oh, GG, that was fun, all that jazz. He even had a match, he said, where his team got absolutely annihilated. Like, it was brutal stomping. And the other team was sending messages like, okay, guys, well, that was good, but here's what you did wrong. So change that up by next match, and it shouldn't happen again. Which is absurd. I cannot picture that happening down here at rank 43. Are you kidding me? I can't go a single match without being called faggot for not damage boosting a Hanzo as Mercy, while our Reinhardt has 50 HP and is on the point. It's an entirely different game up there in those ranks, and I really, really want to get back up there, because there is a very glaring, obvious difference. So...
Yeah,
and that's a shame.
Yeah, and that's another reason I've kind of just avoided ranked. Like, if I don't have a full team to play with, to me, it kind of like defeats the purpose of ranked. Because if it's no matter how well I do in a match, right? If I have to carry a team, or if I don't do well, it doesn't reflect. Or even if I don't do well and then we win the match, it doesn't reflect my skill. Yeah, So I feel like I feel like as a team, it should reflect your skill as a team. you know, and why would I do that unless I had a full team to play with?
Exactly. And as said, if you drop down too far in ranks, you can't, no matter what you do as a really good solo player, get back up. And the people you're being matched with in lower ranks are not people who are going to be helping out. They're down there for a reason. So, like, as said, as soon as I dropped down, like, these 40 regions, I tried playing solo matches, and I realized the futility of it. So, like, I only play when I'm together with my team to be able to crawl my way back up. Because as soon as you hit down there and you're a solo player, you're not going to be able to get back out again. And it's actually a pretty ongoing issue. It's being talked about a lot on the forums and shit, and I know Blizzard has acknowledged it. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure what they're planning to do about it, really.
Yeah, and until Ranked has a bit more incentive to play too, I'm not super into it. Like, getting gold weapons and stuff,
Like, what I think they should do is that they should have ranks like they do right now, 0 to 100, all that jazz, but they should have different tiers of it. They should have, like, bronze tier, 0 to 100. They should have silver tier, 0 to 100, and all that jazz, right? And you should probably be matched into one of those tiers or something as you're playing, and, like, you drop down. Like, okay, you might be rank 1 in silver. You're literally the worst of silvers, but you're not going to be dropping down to bronze. You understand what I mean? So even if you're playing terribly, you're not going to be playing with... You can still make it up as a solo player. Because the people who are playing absolute shit will be all the way down there in bronze. So, but I don't know what they're planning on doing yet. They have said that they're working on some huge changes for ranked. But they're not going to be doing them until Season 2, because Season 1 is almost done in, like, I think 3 weeks from now. So we'll just have to wait and see what they decide on.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. This is another topic. I think we're gonna switch on from Overwatch now. This is actually another Battlefront topic. What are you scared about that?
What? No, I don't see
more Overwatch. We can talk more Overwatch if you want to talk more Overwatch.
Well, I mean, let's see. What communities have you not pissed off? If you want to try saying that Overwatch is a bad game, and then I can just sit back and watch your channel get nuked.
Overwatch is the worst game I've ever played. Have you ever tried playing as a Hanzo? His rate of fire is really bad. His ultimate is terrible because it moves too slow, so you never hit anything. What the hell is a payload? You don't even know why you're bringing it to the objective or what's inside it. Yeah, there's that one map on Numbani where you know it's the weird gauntlet thing, but who the hell wears a gauntlet in this day and age anyways? And adding on to that, it's in the future. Who the hell wears a gauntlet in the future? We're not Iron Man. I mean, God, the worst game ever. Frickin' hell.
Yep. All of those points. Also, healers are literally the worst type of players. Actually, I just want nothing but assault characters at all. So just Mercies and Reinhardts and all of those trying to actually do team stuff. How about you try some Junkrat or some Hanzo? I think it's going to work out better from here on.
Only upvote Junkrats.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am literally tired of his ult.
Yeah? It doesn't work well anymore. Everyone just knows to run away and hide in a corner.
Or just shoot the damn thing. It has 100 HP. Most people can one-shot it.
Yep. It's a thing that happens. Alright, so I do want to talk about Galaxy and Turmoil. I don't know if you know anything about this game. You probably don't. But it's news that happened in the last day or so.
Okay.
So, have you heard about that game at all?
I don't think I have.
Okay, so it made kind of like some news and stuff a few months ago. Basically what it is this one startup company, Frontwire Studios, they found the old version of the Star Wars Battlefront 3 canceled game that was being developed like in 2008.
Okay.
So the game was being developed, the company went out of business, they pawned it off onto another company, then that one went out of business and the game was all but canceled completely, right? And that was originally supposed to be the sequel to Battlefront 2. So that game had a bunch of leaked footage for it, and then there's actually a leaked build of it. This company took that build, and they were remaking the build, not taking the assets, apparently. From what they were saying was that they were seeing the assets and then remodeling them in the Unreal Engine and making the game from scratch. Okay. So they were basically making the spiritual successor to Battlefront 2.
Okay.
And they were going through this and it was kind of like in like news and everything, video game news, all that crap. And they've now been given an official cease and desist order from EA and Lucasfilm. Which they were actually decently surprised about because it was for non-profit and everything as well. But of course, I wouldn't necessarily agree that they had fair use rights for that because, you know, they are using the Star Wars IP for it and stuff. Yeah. They weren't calling it Star Wars, but they had, you know, Star Wars stuff in it. Stuff that directly related to a previous like build of a video game. So they've now been told that they can't use anything related to the Star Wars IP. However, they weren't like, yelled at. Apparently they did end up meeting with EA and Lucasfilm about it, and they were kind of open to letting them use it still, but they eventually decided, nah, we gotta kind of protect our own Battlefront series right now, which makes sense. You know, as much as I don't really like Star Wars Battlefront, you know, it is a series they've got going. They need to protect their interests as a company. That makes sense, right?
Yep.
So what they're doing right now is they haven't completely, like, canceled the game, but what they're doing is they're removing anything related to Star Wars about it. So it's not going to be, you know, a, quote, Star Wars game. And it looks like they're going kind of a different direction with it. Now, there's a lot of weird things with this, and all this that I'm talking about right now is speculation, nothing confirmed or anything. What I'm actually doing is I'm going to be interviewing and talking with the president of Frontwire, Tony Romanelli, on Wednesday is when we set that up. So I talked to him before when the game was originally released, and he was really great about it. So we're going to be talking again, kind of clarifying a lot of things, because people seem to be very confused on the internet. So yes, the game is still being made. It's not being canceled. This is not going to be a Star Wars specific game. This does kind of lead to the question, though, and again, not confirmed or anything. I'm not saying this is what's happening, but if they were aware that they were probably going to get a cease and desist, is it at all possible, and this is what I've seen on the internet, people asking this question, did they make all the hype around this game being a new Star Wars Battlefront game, knowing that they'd probably get a cease and desist, and then possibly have a plan that if they did that, they could make another game with all that hype that they had already accrued, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, I follow you.
Considering they are a new startup company, and I'm not saying this is what's happening at all, stressing the hell out of that right now, but it is definitely possible. So hopefully, when I get to talk to Tony about it, he'll be able to kind of explain on that a little bit more, just kind of like clear the air on the current state of that, because that's going to be something that's going to have to go down. I'm sure people are going to be very skeptical about it, you know, and there's already been a bit of tension between them and another company that's making a similar game called Star Wars Battle Cry. You know, that company ended up calling them out, saying they're using stolen assets, when technically they were remaking the assets, a whole different thing as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see in the future where this ends up going, and I've actually tried to talk to the Battle Cry devs, and they've actually ignored me. So, you know, guys, if you want to get interviewed, just let me know. No, if they have every right to not want to talk to me, that's totally fine.
Oh, of course.
But if they want to, I mean, I'm always free. I'm not just talking to Frontwire. I'd love to talk to anyone else doing any similar projects. I really like the Battlefront series and the Star Wars IP. So that's a thing. That's pretty much all I have to talk about. Just wanted to, you know, kind of clear the air on that whole thing as well, if that makes any sense. Okay, so moving on. I think we should go into D&D a little bit, because you've been a bit hesitant to talk about it. So, and I'm not calling you out saying, like, oh, you don't want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, it's scary, you think people aren't going to like you. But, can you kind of clear the air on exactly, like, what your channel is, and kind of, like, what you might think is, like, a bit of skepticism towards Dungeons & Dragons at all? If that makes sense? Does it make sense?
It makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, well, like, it's not that I'm hesitant per se. Like you know, I stream Dungeons & Dragons on Twitch. I live stream everything from my map making to me writing the whole campaigns to actually playing through them with players and all of that jazz. So I can't exactly say I'm like trying to hide this or anything, but it does go without saying that the word, you know, just Dungeons & Dragons, or more in fact, the word roleplay kind of has a bit of a negative weight today. It's getting better, but still, when you meet someone, oh, the fact that I do role play in Dungeons & Dragons, that's not exactly the first thing you wanna you know, pop up about yourself, because there is a bit of a stigma around it, basically.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when I was in college, that's when I got into role-playing games like Pathfinder, D&D 3.5, a lot of things like that. And there was a lot of people that did have interest in playing it, but they just didn't want to take that leap. You know, I have one friend specifically who was, like, on the outside, he was the biggest jock you would ever think of, you know? Right. He was, like, always playing hockey, working out and everything, but he was a huge, like, Star Wars fan, Lord of the Rings and everything, too, and he enjoyed that type of thing, but he did not want to play anything regarded as being, like, Dungeons & Dragons or anything, until we got him kind of drunk one night, and we ended up playing it. And he loved it, you know? But even then, he would not allow us to tell anyone else that he was playing it. Yeah. So that stigma is definitely there, but I think that people once they like start watching it or they start just paying any sort of attention to it, they realize that it's no different than playing a game like Skyrim, you know?
Well, the problem is they've already seen stuff like it.
Absolutely.
Like, if you go to any of the popular gamer channels on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them, while they're playing a game, will actually just fully become the persona of the character they're playing. I haven't watched it myself, but I know that, like, for example, Yogscast made a whole series in Minecraft where they made up whole characters and the campaign and plotline on that. People who do, just Skyrim Let's Plays and that kind of jazz will often, talk as their character and make little jabs at that and that kind of stuff. So, and those channels that do, instead of just, talking like in the third person about their character and all that jazz, those that do actually embrace it, they seem to be doing pretty well on YouTube. A lot of them get pretty high up there because of it.
Absolutely. Like in my Skyrim and Fallout games as well, like I do kind of a mix of them, like I'll talk about just random crap while I'm playing the game. But at the same time, if I'm in a dialogue with a character, right, especially in Skyrim because there was no actual voiced main character, what I'll do is when I'm choosing the topics, instead of just saying like clicking the thing that says hello, I'll be like, "Yo, bro, how's it going? I want to help you out, and I'm gonna help you do this quest because if I don't, then I'm not gonna get the cool thing or just like something stupid. Like it'll be the dumbest thing that pops into my head, but that's still a form of role playing. I'm still acting and speaking as the character. So I think that people are a lot more exposed to it than they realize. I think it is something that permeates literally everything. I mean, it comes down to even when you're playing something like Star Wars Battlefront. Like we were saying earlier, I was immersed in that game, and I felt like I was playing Star Wars. That's goddamn roleplay. That counts.
Right there, yeah.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of people, as I said, it has a negative stigma, but most people just don't realize that they've already experienced it, and I guess the stigma just resides around the whole concept. Oh, it's lonely, or some people hear the word role play and think of it as something sexual, which most certainly is not. Because basically, when I do my Dungeons & Dragons streams, I do them on Twitch, and I play with people all around the world. And the way we play is there's a website known as Roll20, and what you can do on Roll20 is I basically can put up maps that I've drawn, like okay, well here's like a whole tavern or a battlefield that they're on or forest that whatever, and they have their little tokens and that kind of jazz, and that when it's their turn in the turn initiative, they can move their token stuff, and it basically becomes like a top-down strategy game that you're playing with other people. Now, the difference about Dungeons & Dragons and a normal top-down strategy game is that instead of having pre-programmed stories and all that, is that you actually have another person, the Dungeon Master, who is got control over the story and the consequences of your actions, all the enemies, and all that kind of stuff. And what it means is that you suddenly have a lot more possibilities. Like I have a go-to example, if that's okay.
Go for it.
One of the first times I actually played D&D, I wasn't a DM then, and we walked, me and the rest of the players, we walked into this huge room, and our DM described this massive room. It was like one of these elongated rooms with like stained glass windows on either side, and there's another door at the far end of the room. Okay, and above that door was this balcony, and there were these goblins standing on the balcony with crossbows. And the entire room was covered with these little spikes, these little spiked marble balls. So we had to, get across this room where the floor was covered in spikes, and these goblins were peppering us from above with crossbow bolts. So our choices were, we can run across the room, in which case we're going to, get tons of damage on our feet, or we can step very slowly across the spikes, but the goblins are most likely going to be hitting us a lot. Okay? And not me, but one of the other players I was with, he looked at the Dungeon Master and he goes, okay, well, I'm a pretty damn strong character. He's playing like some kind of orc guy, and he was super muscular. And the DM had just described that we just pushed open this huge, giant 2 wooden doors like you would have in like the front of like a church or something.
Yeah.
So he just asked, okay, can I just use my warhammer to smash the hinges of this door and then just like hold it in front of me like a giant tower shield and then just move ahead? The door would be scraping across the smooth marble floor, pushing away all the caltrops, and it would be taking all of the crossbow bolts for us. So if that was a game, the programmers would have had to think that, like, what if they can use the door, and they'd have to program it in and all that jazz. With Dungeons & Dragons, it could just happen. The DM could be like, you can do that. Go ahead and try to see if your strength. Okay, he tries to rip the door off. He does succeed. He does it. You move across the room. You've done it in a successful way that the DM himself might not have predicted, but he can then and there just adapt the situation and say, this is what I need for you to be able to pull it off. You succeeded. You pull it off. You make it through the room without any caltrops or crossbow bolts in your chest. And it makes the game a lot more dynamic and less static than other games.
Yeah, and exactly. And I mean, it's great that when you're playing a game like that, or when you're role-playing, you do have those other options, especially for people like me. I mean, I'm super outside of the box thinking normally, so there's many times in video games where I want to do something a certain way, or I don't want to make this, like, arbitrary choice they've put in or something, so I like to kind of, like, create my own, like, choices through my brain, and it's just how my mind works. So that's a really big driving force for me. So it was nice when I finally discovered it, because really I had already been playing things like it for years. It was just without that extra choice involved. I mean, like, literally any RPG is based off D&D.
Oh yeah, that's why sandbox games are so popular nowadays, because you can play it, you know, as you want. You can be a violent guy, or you can go around being a merchant, or whatever the fuck you want in Fallout or Skyrim. It's why those games are so popular. But they're still limited, because the programmers they can't just let it be whatever, because there's no way to program that. But D&D is literally a sandbox game where you can do absolutely whatever.
Yeah, and it's just like, you just use your imagination. You just use your imagination. Y'all got it. Y'all just think about it. And then it's half imagination, half you just getting drunk with your friends.
That is actually the other thing, is that a lot of people don't want to do it because of the whole imagination thing. Because I say Dungeons and Dragons, they're like, oh, I like fantasy and all that. But they picture a ton of dudes sitting around a table and just rolling some dice, and then someone's describing it to them and all that. Like, on Roll20, it is actually a video game you play. You play it yourself, Patty. It is a video game.
Yep.
Like, you've got a character. You move around on a tiled map when it's your turn. You click this button to attack the enemy. It'll say your attack hits. It does so much damage. There's HP bars, like the full shebang. It is straight up a top-down video game. It's just, instead of being run by like an AI or some preset plot, it's just being run by someone else.
Yep. And
it's the difference between playing Civilization with AI or playing Civilization with other, real life people. That's literally it.
Yep, pretty much. And yeah, although I am very much a fan of sitting around a table with people rolling dice for stupid situations and then drinking. That was my favorite night ever. Like, the second time I played D&D, I got plastered. Absolutely plastered.
Drunk D&D is amazing.
My first character was a half dragon, I think.
Oh boy.
So what did I find? I found this, like, magical amulet. I guess being a half dragon has nothing to do with it, but it was funny because now you can picture a half dragon. And what we ended up doing... Oh, we got 6 people watching now. That's nice.
Awesome.
So we had this magical amulet, or no, it was like a gemstone or something. And because it was like my first time playing, and when it's your first time playing, you do stupider things. You know what I mean?
Of course,
because everyone has to get that out of them. Hello, Square Block, how you doing? So the stupid things I was doing was I'd be like, every room I would go into, I make my character lick the ground, right? Because then the DM would have to, like, explain to me what the ground tasted like, and I thought that was hilarious. So eventually, where I got this, like, magical gemstone, I was like, okay, I eat it. So I just swallowed it, because half dragons, they eat things, I guess. And then it came back into play later on in the game, where we met this kind of demigod in this dungeon, and he was like, okay, I'm the god of knowledge, and if you can show me something new, something I've never seen before, then I will give you your choice of some type of reward, like 3 things, whatever. So I was like, okay. And I was, like, plastered at this point, so what can I do that's totally different that no one has ever seen before? So I decided that as a half-dragon, I'd just eaten this gemstone. It had been, like, a day and a half, so I probably had to take a dookie. So I ended up just, like, taking off my whatever I was wearing, my trousers, and just taking this dookie in front of this, like, in front of this demigod, and just pooping out this shiny, magical, mystical gemstone. Because I thought it was hilarious. And the guy was like, okay, yeah, so I've literally never seen a half-dragon take a deuce before, especially not a sparkling purple one. So y'all can have this, like... What was it? What are they? Okay, there are dwarves in the game. They're like dwarves that are like really stupid. I forget what they're called.
Goblins?
No. It was a type of dwarf, but it was really, 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 really dumb.
Oh, was it like an Underdark dwarf or something?
Something like that, yeah. So I got this one, and he was like my servant, because I pooped out a gemstone. Then I ended up taking the dwarf and sacrificing it to give it to the body of another demon in order to get like a bag of holding or something. But it was like it was like, could you ever see in like any other video game, that would never be an option. You know what I mean?
Of course not. All of that is just so absurd.
Yeah, and it's like, okay. It's like when you're playing it, you can do things like that, but at the same time, you can also do anything else. You could just been just as easily shown him something that he had never seen before because he'd never been out of the dungeon, you know?
Right.
There's so many options.
A lot of people do like that freedom, and there are big differences between groups because a lot of people do just like that. You know, my character can do anything. It tends to get pretty ridiculous and all that, and it also means though for those people out there who play sandbox RPGs and the jazz for the story. D&D can have some pretty serious plots.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because it allows for a lot more storytelling and lore for the players, because in a game, everything's pre-written per se, and the players make a character, but like there are some pre-made endings and all that jazz. But like in D&D, I'll make up some epic plot. My players will be jumped into it, but they will slowly get their own motivations. They might be fighting a war. And then through the course of the game, they actually realize that they're against the side they've been fighting for this entire time. And they'll tell that to me. They'll be like, okay, actually, we're starting to disagree with the motives of this. So we want to start being like deserters and start going against our own city and see if we can run away to some other kingdom and join their armies and all that jazz. And let's say you were playing a game and you just suddenly realize that, shit, I don't actually agree with what my character's doing. But it doesn't have like the whole, you can choose what side you want to fight on or any of that. Either you'll just keep on playing because you love the mechanics, you'll just put down the game like, okay, well, the plot's not that intriguing for me anymore because the character's motivations and goals are not the same as me.
I have a perfect example for that.
Okay, go ahead.
I hate The Witcher 3.
Oh, you're screwed, man.
No. I will explain my reasoning, and okay. This reasoning
don't.
This is
don't because I haven't played it.
No,
I just finished downloading it. I don't know anything about the plot.
It's fine. No plot spoilers or anything, other than like the first 10 minutes of the game. Okay.
You're fine. Okay, go ahead.
So, the thing about The Witcher 3 with me. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. All right. In fact, I think it's the best game of last year. I firmly believe that, but I cannot play it because I unfathomably dislike the main character so goddamn much. Geralt is one of my least favorite characters in all of video games.
Okay.
And I'm still digging myself a hole here, but it's a good game. It's the best game of last year, guys. Believe me. I cannot stand the way he talks. I can't do it. Within the first 10 minutes of the game, I hated him so much because he wanted to be goddamn Batman. He's the
cliche hero thing.
But he can't talk in full sentences. The first part of the game, you're fucking tracking down a griffin. All right, this is like the first half hour of the game.
Okay, yeah.
And you find a dead griffin, right? So you're trying to find this other one. But instead of saying, hey, look, that griffin right there is dead, he's like, griffin dead.
What, really?
Yeah, he's like, griffin dead. What do we do? It's like, dude, speak in full sentence, and that's the entire game. He doesn't speak he like misses out things like I think, or like whatever those are called in sentences, right?
Okay, yeah.
He just doesn't speak in full sentences, and it bothers the hell out of me. And there's no other reason why I dislike the game. I love every other part of the game other than him and Ciri. I don't like her character either, but I can get past that.
That's so weird. I heard the voice acting was like amazing in that game.
The voice acting is good. I just hate the characters and don't agree with them, which is why it goes into your point about role-playing. It's like, if I'm playing a video game and I can't stand the side of the war I'm on, or I can't stand the character I'm playing, I'm going to put it down. And that's what happened with The Witcher 3.
Well, yeah, you tailor the character to exactly what you want to play.
Which
your
is
motivations,
which is why I love games like Skyrim and stuff, right? Because they offer me at least a little bit more freedom, even though it might be a hell of a lot more shallow.
Right. Because the players can literally they can tailor the character they're playing to exactly their needs in D&D. And then the DM can tailor the entire game, everything from the plot down to the very encounters around what the players are playing. If all the players have chosen, we want to play like these really combat-focused orcs, we love fighting and all that jazz, then the DM will go, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing like some political intrigue, murder mystery plot in the city. Okay, guys, you're mercenaries. And then not only are you playing exactly what you want to play, you're playing exactly the game you want to play, because you have a dude whose entire role is to tailor everything so you're having the most fun possible.
Exactly. Okay, I just want to point out, too, the Gaming Boy 87 in the comments says that in Spanish apparently it talks normally. So I might switch over to the Spanish language in that game. That'd be hilarious, actually. I want to do that. I want to hear Spanish Geralt if he still sounds like Batman. That'd be amazing.
Oh my
man.
gosh.
I want to do it. That sounds
I am
awesome.
El Witcher. Hola, Griffin.
El Witcher. Grande.
Oh my gosh.
Grande Griffin.
Well,
That sounds so great. I can't wait.
It's perfect, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
But that's weird, though. But that's probably something down to the different voice acting studios who got responsibility for the games.
Possibly just how the different languages have to have their sentences structured as well. It's entirely possible that with that omitting those same words in Spanish would make the sentence not work at all.
Wait, was The Witcher originally written in English? Because isn't it made by a Polish company? What if the game was actually originally scripted out for Polish? I don't know how the language structure of Polish is, but what if that's why he has to speak so short? Because in Polish, maybe he can say more with less, and they just can't fit that in.
Yeah, but considering they had some... Who was the guy that played Geralt? It wasn't Troy Baker, it was someone else, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm not familiar with voice actors.
Well, yeah, the voice actor was like a really, really good video game voice actor. I mean, one would assume that if he saw a sentence that said Griffin dead, he could kind of interpret what it was meant to say and be like, yo... Can I put a 2 extra words in this?
Just fundamental grammar.
Yes, and because I think it's more of a thing where it's just Geralt's character more than anything, and I just ugh.
Yeah.
Although there is the possibility that he did say that, and they just said no, you can't do anything like that, which I think was a thing in Skyrim, by the way. So, rant about Skyrim. Why the hell do they have 4 voice actors for that words?
The entire game.
Yeah, it makes zero sense. Or why is it that different voice actors will say the same damn line in that game? That always baffled the hell out of me. Because you'll have people saying oh, hello, how are you today? And then someone else will be like, hello, how are you today? It's like you couldn't take that line and be like, hi, how's it going? That accomplishes the exact same sentence, but it says something slightly different, so I'm not listening to someone with slightly gruffer tone say the exact same thing that this young merchant woman just said as well. This has nothing to do with anything. That always bothered the hell out of me though. And that's been the thing in Skyrim and Elder Scrolls for years. I saw a mud crab out by the water today. Horrible creatures. Ugh.
Absolutely hear the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, it was worse than Oblivion, but still. Skyrim in Spanish is awesome. The kids just sound stupid. I want to play. I'm going to play every goddamn game in Spanish now. This is being hyped up for me way more than it should be. Alright, do you have another topic you want to go onto off the top of your head? Anything else? Could be anything. Anything that pops in your mind. What did you eat for breakfast today? I don't really care. Could be anything.
Oh man, I just finished a 24-hour stream. Are you kidding me? I didn't wake up until it was far into the afternoon. I ate leftover Chinese food because I'm a student, and that's the most gourmet thing I'll have my hands on for the next month or two. So
how good is the Chinese food over there? Is it normal normal takeout Chinese food good?
It's passable, and I'm hoping I can say the same thing when I use the bathroom later. So
okay, that's really okay.
Yeah,
I'm so glad I have that image in my head.
Oh, yeah. No, Norway is not exactly known for having a varied amount of cuisine. People here are a little bit finicky about stuff.
Yeah.
Norway's very set in traditions and shit, and they're a country that's all lived off salted meat and salted fish and stuff. So the natural the national dishes of Norway, they literally don't contain spices or herbs or anything, marinades or anything. It's just a thing that they don't do here. So when I came here from Texas in about 2003, and my mother being Texan would make all kinds of chilies and shit. My next door neighbor, this girl, she was awesome. We used to hang out and all that jazz, and she'd come over for dinner sometimes, and she couldn't even understand what these things were. She'd never had a jalapeno. She didn't know what a burrito was. She never tasted fucking salsa or guacamole because it was just weird to her. She was watching my mom make some food because we're sitting in the kitchen playing something. My mom was spicing with herbs and shit. We had an entire shelf covered in spices, and it was just she looked absolutely befuddled about it. She couldn't even understand because in her house they literally had three things: it was salt, pepper, and paprika.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, food in Norway is super fucking boring.
So yeah,
And because of that, yeah, Chinese places they don't usually last because they just don't have enough customers.
I couldn't do Norway. I don't think, just because of the food. Because because Canada is so varied, you know, like the U.S. is varied too. But in the U.S. you still get more like different areas have a specific group, you know. Like if you go to like Louisiana, like you know exactly what type you're getting, like what type of food you're gonna be getting down there, right? In Canada though, everything you like everywhere, every city you go to has such a mix of different people everywhere. You can find something for everyone, you know.
That is Norway's problem.
Yeah, and like
Norway
just here we have
6 million people.
Yeah, like we have our pizza shop here, we have our Italian restaurant, we have like our Chinese place, we have a curry house, we have everything you could want, you know.
Yeah.
And this is a town of 5,000 people, but it's because there's so many different types of people that just have moved here over the last 150 years, right?
Yep.
Okay, someone asked.
Norway just doesn't have the population, so.
Yeah. Someone asked in the comment, "Do I think Galaxy and Turmoil still has potential, even though it's not Star Wars anymore?" Yes, I do. I think that it has a bit of potential, but here's the thing about that game. I haven't played it. No one's played it except like maybe the minimal beta testing the developers have. All we have is concept art. So as to whether or not it's even going to be good, I can't in good faith say it will be. However,
that's such a vague thing. We don't have anything to go by yet.
Yeah, and you know, like I do have, like, full disclosure, I have a relationship with the developers, but even so, it's like I'm not going to say like the game is going to be good because I don't know that at the end of the day. You know, there's no way I can tell that, and that's unfortunately the reality of it. You know,
we can hope
it
though.
is. I sure as hell hope it is. In fact, I hope every game's good though. You know, but I do hope that this one turns out being decent. I'm very interested to see where they take the lore nowadays, because it's not going to be Star Wars anymore. So they're talking about maybe having like space elves or something, so that could be something that's weird to see. Interesting maybe though, so we're going to see how that goes.
Breaking canon is risky for that type of game, because the only customers they have are the diehard fans of Star Wars, and you want to keep those people around. You're not going to be getting that many new people into it.
Yeah, so we're going to see what ends up happening, but they do have that kind of hype train behind them though, because it is... I wouldn't even say it's the diehard Star Wars fans, it's the diehard Battlefront fans, right? And that seems to be what they're really going for. People who are gonna want like a spiritual successor to Battlefront 2, which they didn't feel like they got with the remake in 2015.
Yeah.
So, and what he just said in the comments too, he thinks it'll be interesting if they set up like a Steam workshop for it. I hope there is mods. You know, I hope that they introduce all that stuff. I think it'd be really stupid not to, considering the game is kind of just a remake of almost a mod itself. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, Tristan also says, are there any new games that I want to do IPs on? I don't know.
Can I?
Does that question make sense? Can you explain that question to me?
LPS, Let's Plays.
Oh, LPS. Okay, I thought that was an I. Any new games that I want to do IPs on? Let me think about that for a sec. Do you have one?
Well, I've been looking actually to set up like a proper... Because I have a gaming channel on Twitch as well. I just don't use it. And I wonder if you're interested in joining me probably for, I don't know, a few weekly hours of Overwatch and that kind of jazz, streaming that.
I am down for some Overwatch any day of the week. That'd be really cool, because then I could upload them. I could upload the matches afterwards on my channel. We could do kind of like a collab cross promotion thing. It would be kind of fun.
That'd be awesome. I could just send you straight up the video files, man.
Hey, I can just record them on my end too.
Actually, yeah, you probably should do that.
Yeah,
because you'd have 2 points of views. Actually, here's a quick question: if you did that, would you be able to edit it in so you maybe like can see both views at once or something in the final vid?
If you sent it over to me, yeah.
Okay, I was planning on playing more on my gaming channel as well. Because that said, you know, I stream about 6 hours every day over on Tabletop Twitch, you know, Dungeons & Dragons, that kind of jazz. But I play a shit ton of games as well. I have a gaming channel. Why not stream that? You know?
Yeah, totally.
I have no reason not to. So
there's actually a really neat program in Adobe Premiere which allows you to like if you have like, it's meant for like if you had like different camera shots of the same thing at the same time. You put all the tracks in there, but then you can make it like have this screen beside your video preview screen, and what it does is it shows every different camera shot that's after you synced it up. So all you have to do is, if you want to switch shots, you literally click on the next video box to switch cameras, and then it switches it live. So it's like live editing. So yeah, easily doable because I can see all the video going at once as well. So totally.
Awesome.
Getting back to the question though, do I want any new games I want to do Let's Plays on? No Man's Sky is the first one.
Yeah.
Because I
can vouch for Starbound.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit biased on Starbound because I've been a supporter since they first went live in Kickstarter like 4.5 years ago. But I've actually been working with the development team a little bit. Used to do a little bit of concept art for them, that kind of jazz.
Oh,
and
really?
Really fucking awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, they've put a lot of work into the game. And like I'll admit, when it first went out into like beta and stuff, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
It was passable.
Oh, I remember.
I played it for I paid it for a bit and then I just kind of left it. But they've worked their asses off for the past 2 years, going through everything the community sent them, and the game is super good now. Like I paid them shit tons of money and I ended up not liking it and I was disappointed. And then they shaped up. It is absolutely wonderful. You really should check that out. Actually,
is the game multiplayer?
It definitely is multiplayer. Yes,
it is.
And the thing is that it has a story, but it's not a single player story. Like you can play it single player, but people can literally just log into your world through Steam if you want. And the story works with multiple people. It automatically adjusts itself. It's perfect.
That's cool.
And it's very sandbox as well. So
yeah. Well, we should do some Starbound co-op one night too.
I would totally be down for that. I was actually thinking about streaming that as well. It's on my list of shit to stream here.
I am 100% down. I do have the game, so that is something we can do. Because that's a game that I get bored playing by myself in, to be entirely honest. Things like that in Minecraft, I kind of need to play with other people, but I'm kind of...
Well, that's the fun, yeah, because they flesh out the world. It's fun together. So I'd totally be down for that.
Yeah, so that sounds pretty cool to me. Other games, yeah, again, like No Man's Sky, that's something I have to play on my channel, because I've covered it for a couple of years now, and I'm completely, absolutely skeptical as hell about that game, right? But it's one of those things where I'm gonna go in there, and I'm gonna figure out once and for all, is that game worth the hype? Because I don't know if it is, and I doubt it's gonna be, but I will go in there with an open mind, and I will play it. There's actually some leaks about the gameplay that I'm not going to go into detail about, because last time I did that, I had my channel get a strike, which was bullshit, but it happened.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay. You want to hear the dumbest YouTube copyright strike story ever? Okay.
That's a big one to top, but go ahead.
So, basically, a few years ago, there was a leak about Star Wars Battlefront 3, which was the leak of the gameplay footage that we were talking about earlier, right?
Yep.
So that was released, and what I did was I made a video talking about it with some Battlefront 2 gameplay, which came out in 2005. Okay. I made this video in like 2011. The game had been out for years. And I was just like, okay, so this leak happened, and and I kind of like described a little bit of the footage that they showed. Then my video got taken down. I got a copyright strike for that by LucasArts, right? And I was like, okay, well, literally GameSpot and IGN are reporting on this as well. So if you're going to try to take my video down, you got to inherently try to take their video and their coverage down as well, right?
But they're probably paying shit tons of money for that.
Exactly, right? Or whatever they're doing, or they just don't want to because it's coverage and they actually have lawyers, right? So they took my video down, whatever. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try to file a copyright dispute. So I did that, and that went in, and it takes at that point, it took like a month for the copyright dispute to go through. And
by then, you've already pretty much had all the views you were going to have.
No. The video was legitimately taken down.
Oh, even that. Oof.
But what happened was during that month, freaking LucasArts went out of business. So there was no one left to even look at my copyright dispute because they had no company.
So you just re-uploaded it?
No, because I didn't have a copy of the video anymore, and it was taken down. And I had a copyright strike on my channel that I couldn't dispute. So I had that strike for the entire 6-month duration. Because there was no one to dispute the goddamn claim.
If no one responds to copyright claim within like a month, the dispute should automatically go to you, basically.
Yeah, and maybe they just denied it and then I put in another one, but I had that strike for 6 months.
Yeah.
It was the dumbest thing I've ever done. You don't know if you get No Man's Sky away from Mass Effect Andromeda. I would just recommend waiting until the game is out and then seeing reviews.
Yeah, I've not pre-ordered No Man's Sky because it was such a broad claim.
Don't pre-order a game. Don't do it.
Yeah,
terrible idea. No. It's always a terrible idea. Unless there's a risk that the game is not going to be available for everyone upon release, there's no point. Unless it's a game that you know you are going to 100% buy regardless, there is no point. I mean, like, did I pre-order Fallout 4? Yes, because I was going to, spoiler alert, play Fallout 4. That's a game.
I'm pre-ordering Titanfall 2, but only because I remember Titanfall 1. I pre-ordered that as well because difficult to get a hold of.
See, I'm
but it was
really?
Titanfall 1 Norway, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. But Titanfall 1 was like 50-something gigs. Like, I'm glad I got that on CD. I do not have good enough internet download. It took me like 5 fucking days.
Yeah.
So...
And that's the thing. Like, pre-ordering games, god damn it. Why is it still a thing? Well, it bothers the hell out of me.
Well, I mean, if you can get money for something before you're done with said something, and not only will you, A, be able to fund it, not only will you be able to fund it, but B, you're also going to see just how good the game is going to be. Like, how, I mean, not good, I mean, how popular it's going to be. So, like, I think it was, this was brought up on another, it was one of the Assassin's Creed games where they put out the pre-ordering, like, really early, like a year before the release date, and then not a lot of people pre-ordered it because they'd been, hurt too much in the past with Assassin's Creed games. And suddenly that Assassin's Creed game didn't seem as polished as the ones before it. So people were pointing out maybe when people didn't pre-order it, they thought it was going to be that popular, and they pulled some of the devs and put them over to other games instead. Why put so much effort into it? It's obviously not going to be that popular.
Yuck.
So, yeah.
That's a flawed business plan on their end.
Well, yeah, but it's a way to see just how much effort they should put into it, which is terrible because that means that the people that did pre-order, if they're one of the few, they're probably going to be getting a worse game.
It should cost less for pre-order, I agree. Because if you're buying, I don't, well, not necessarily. I don't think it should necessarily cost less to pre-order a game if you're getting the same content that anyone that buys it afterwards does. Because the problem is if it costs less, then what you're doing is you're incentivizing people to buy a game that they might not normally have anyways. You know? Because if a game costs $40 instead of $60, maybe I didn't want that game, but hey, it's $40, I'll pick it up.
Right.
And, like, I guess that's kind of a weird place to be in, I guess. Mm-hmm. At the same time, though, if I was probably going to get a game at some point and I can get it for less, then I'm
fine with pre-orders. It depends on what you get for said pre-order. If you get nothing, why bother? If you're getting exclusive in-game items, maybe. If you're getting, let's say, beta access, allowed to play the game a week early, that kind of jazz, or you're getting the DLCs free, then it starts giving a little bit more incentives to pre-ordering. So I can agree on that point at least. Yeah,
it's just such a weird, because every game has different pre-order stuff as well. You can never be exactly sure like what is beneficial for the consumer or not. I don't know. If it doesn't cost less, then there's no point. Exactly. Like, there is no point to pre-ordering unless you're getting something that's going to benefit you somehow in the game, and it sure as hell shouldn't benefit you in a multiplayer game. It's weird.
Games are a really weird market right now. I mean, you wouldn't go, let's see, watch a movie trailer for a movie coming out in a year and buy the movie.
People did that for Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I mean, you would. Okay, fair enough.
You want a crossbow? Buy these movie tickets.
Yeah, I don't know. Games are it's a weird market. They're a little bit different than other wares out there, I assume.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you can pre-order movie tickets nowadays. Like, it is a thing that happens. It's quite the
stupid thing.
Even able to pre-order books for years, Like, it's not
but then again, books
thing.
are hard copies, and you're pre-ordering for the right to get a copy early. Not get a copy, but just basic copy,
but at the same time, it is kind of the same thing. Whereas you don't know if the book's going to be shit.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, someone could just write in like, "Yo, I like trains" for 30 pages in it. I mean, it would never happen, but I mean, like, you never know what's going to happen with a book. Maybe the author didn't care,
Right.
Maybe Stephen King was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm retiring now." Like 3/4 through writing that book and just didn't care for the last of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Hello, Madafaka. I get the pun. I was just pronouncing it the way it was written. What game do you think has the most content for the least money? That's actually a very good question. Probably Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Actually, like, okay. It's super fucking popular and a billion jillion people play it. But I'd probably say Minecraft, just due to the fact that A, it's dirt cheap, and B, due to the whole thing about servers and mods, people can literally make that game into anything.
Yeah.
Like people, like I personally used to run a zombie survival server that I programmed myself, and like it had guns, like you could scope and shit. Like I'm not kidding you. It was basically like playing like Counter-Strike, but in a voxel world. And you shot zombies, and people built factions, and they could claim land and cities and fight other factions. And I had like a black market where people traded items, and I said there were guns and attachments to guns. Like all in Minecraft, which is like, I don't know, what is it, like $10 now? See, I'd say probably Minecraft has the most content for money, just because it is literally is the definition of a sandbox game, plus the ability to mod it and servers and all that jazz.
I think the distinction has to be made between content and playable value as well, you know? Because like if you're talking about like content, like an MMO has so much content in it, right? But is a lot of it...
It has to be a sandbox.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of the sandbox games.
But is all that content worthwhile, though, right? Whereas a game like... If I were going to say, like, what game do you think is going to let you, let you be able to play it and enjoy it for the most amount of time, I'd lead to something like Overwatch, potentially, you know? But again, Overwatch doesn't have as much content, which isn't the full question, right?
Yeah, if you don't like FPSs, you're screwed.
Yeah. But then again, if you want to look for a game that only has a ton of content, what I think you're going to find is that there's a lot of repetitive or similar content in the game as well, you know?
Yeah.
And not saying that Minecraft is like that, because I think that Minecraft has a crap ton of merit, and it still does, even though I haven't played that game in years, you know?
Yeah.
But it does offer you a lot more, so if you got $15, and, like, you're not going to go wrong picking it up, you know?
Maybe Skyrim, because of just the ability through mods, you can do a lot of stuff with it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too, because if you get Skyrim, you're going to definitely get a crap ton of content. I mean, I'm still playing that game 5 years after release, you know?
Right.
And a lot of that is due to mods and stuff, and a lot of it's due to I do like my ability to roleplay in that game as well. If I want to, I can just not be the Dragonborn. I've done an entire game, like, playthrough where I just go to random towns with my merchant mod and just literally sit in the middle of the town trying to sell stuff. There's a mod for that. You go and get things, and then you get, like, a little market stall that you put in the middle of the town. Then you just, like, sit there all day, sell things. I've done that for days at a time.
Yeah. And also, it's pretty dirt cheap. Like, on summer sales with Steam, it usually goes for just a few dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
Yeah, so. No, it's not a difficult game to get your hands on. It's decently polished for what it is. You get mods that fix a lot of the things that weren't in the game, or improve other things as well. So I'd say it's a pretty good bet as well.
The thing about that question is that there's going to be a different answer depending on if you like FPSs or if you're looking like for the most replayability or the most, the largest world or the most NPC interactions on jazz. Like, if you're looking for like an FPS, well, the cheapest and best FPS of that, Skyrim's not going to be on your list. So,
yeah, it's a loaded question, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
Let's see. Are there any communities we haven't pissed off yet?
God. Let's see. What is another community that's going to hate me? Okay, so I just praised Minecraft, so I can also say that Minecraft is the worst community ever and that no one should ever play that. Terrible game.
Also, Minecraft has... the community of Minecraft is not that good, so...
I'm kind of kidding, sort of.
I'm not! Are you kidding me?
Oh, here's one. I got one. Hold on. Jacksepticeye is annoying. I think I just lost subscribers. Okay, so here's the thing, though. I had no idea who that guy was either until people started asking me if I liked Jacksepticeye. And he seems like a very nice guy, don't get me wrong. I can't stand him. I absolutely can't. And okay, hold on, Aaron. I'll show you. Hold on. Everyone hold your horses for a second here. Oh god, come on. Yep, he's the first thing that pops up when I type in Jack. Great to know. Oh god. How can I send that? Okay, Discord. There we go. Boom shakalaka. I have a feeling that someone in the comments section right now is going to get super angry. Talk about the Call of Duty community? I don't think that the Call of Duty community is that bad nowadays, to be honest.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like... I just don't see it around, either. He's funny. Yeah, he's not terribly he's not unfunny. He's just not exactly I'm not his target audience, I think, is the biggest thing, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I
exactly.
mean, he's one of the Let's Players who's the whole the Scream stream type of guy.
Yeah. And I mean,
So-
like, I think PewDiePie's a great guy. I got nothing against that guy. Do I watch his videos? No.
Yeah.
Top of the morning, TLS. My name's Jackson. That's basically
That's
the
the thing.
guy.
Like, if I was in PewDiePie's position, right? If I made videos that were mostly screaming and overreactions and that, and then I got a shitload of money doing it, would I continue? Yeah.
Hey, you know what? He provides an entertainment medium. People enjoy it, and he's not. He doesn't put down other people. It's not like he's freaking Keemstar, right? It's not.
Yep.
It's not like he's going out there and trying to ruin other people's communities. He has his own community, and most of the time, I agree with his opinions.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, so I got nothing against the guy. I just don't watch his videos. That's totally fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
The CS:GO community are 5-year-olds and assholes. Yeah, they're 5-year-olds, assholes, and gamblers.
So guess what?
Evidently.
I live in Norway, so anytime I try to play CS:GO, I am exclusively playing with screaming Russians calling me hamburger. So
Wait, are you sure you're playing CS:GO, not Dota 2?
No, I got the same thing in fucking Rust as well. Just fucking
Yeah.
Russians. Like 90% of the servers that are within 40 ping is just Russian. That's it.
I can't tell if that would be hilarious or extremely irritating. I kind of want to try that. I want to try it. Go
Yeah.
piss off some Russians. Oh man, that'd be fun.
Oh boy.
Okay, I think we should probably end her off now. Going a little bit over where I wanted to go, but we did get more people in here now, so that was kind of nice to actually have some interaction with the chat as well. That seems to be a thing. It takes like an hour, and then people jump into my stream. So that's
right. Yeah.
That's something. Oh my god, the guns game just dropped, and he's been asking me when I'm streaming for like ever, and now we're just ending the stream. I'm so sorry. I apologize, man.
Oh, the guns game. Don't worry. Like, I am going to literally force Patty stream a lot more. Whether
I think that's what's going to be happening
on my channel, yeah, or if you're going to set up your own Twitch or whatever the jazz.
Yeah. So anyone in this stream right now, if you're wondering when I'm going to be streaming and stuff, I don't have a legitimate like schedule because I work full time and stuff. It's very difficult, but I do try to stream usually on Fridays over on Tabletop Twitch, doing some Dungeons and Dragons. So that's Friday afternoons, my time, and we're gonna be doing some other things as well. Like he was just saying, we're gonna try to stream some Overwatch over there. So a lot of the streaming that I do is gonna end up over on Twitch, over at Tabletop Twitch. So go check that out. But I will be doing VOD uploads on my channel as well. So if we play Overwatch or something, I'll be able to upload my version of it on my channel.
Are you okay with me putting a link in chat to Tabletop
Twitch? You can do
Twitch?
whatever you want.
Sweet. Okay, so if you want to watch Patty, what? Oh, not allowed to do links in chat.
Oh.
Awesome.
I'll put a link in the chat then. Hold on.
Yeah, you can probably do it. I'll send it there in Discord. You recopy it. Okay, so if you're
okay.
interested in
I got
coming
it.
over on Fridays and checking Patty out, who plays a bard in Dungeons and Dragons and makes a fool of himself writing poems and shit and fights dragons terribly, horribly, it doesn't go well. Definitely come check that out. And I'm also going to be getting, hopefully getting Patty into streaming some games with me. Overwatch, some Starbound, all that jazz over my gaming channel, which you can also find through Tabletop Twitch and all that.
Yep, it'll happen.
Yeah, and also, come check out Tabletop Twitch. I stream literally 6 to 7 hours every day of the week. So there's a lot of content there, guys.
They do a lot of like awesome D&D stuff. Go check it out. I hang out there a lot too, half the time when I'm still at work. So that's a thing that happens.
Smooth.
Well, dude, after my show, it's like, what do? I'm just scheduling music, which literally entails me bringing up a screen, going through every single song that's going to play throughout the day. So it's like, I might as well watch or listen to something while I do that.
What, you don't want to listen to the same music you listen to day in, day out?
Doug and the Slugs every single day. Love it. You might not know them. They're Canadian.
Nah, not too familiar.
Yeah, okay.
So,
well, I
not a
think
big music guy.
we're gonna head out of here.
Yep.
And thank you guys for dropping in. Thanks for all the questions. I'd love to tell you I'm doing another stream at this time next week, but I have no idea. So that's the thing.
Well, Patty, if we're able to get it up, we are going to be doing some Super Fight really soon, right now.
Yeah, is there another person that wants to do it?
I don't know yet. I'm going to be asking around to see if I can find talk to my backup players.
Okay, well, if we get that going, follow me on Twitter, guys, because then I'll throw out a link to that later. So just go do that. Okay, I'm heading out of here now. I got to go, like, eat some breakfast, because I haven't done that yet either, so that's fun. It's getting to the point where, like, my hands are shaky from it. You know what I mean?
Go
what
eat
happens?
something, man.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Have a wonderful